Hello, I'm Wekesa Zablon, and I'm here to talk about circular design in East Africa and what is the opportunity around different value chains for us as designers to be able now to infuse some of the learnings and just clean up systems. Our work in the region has been mainly informed by the work that we've been doing on the Open IDEO platform, and we're launching a social enterprise of the chapter. It's called Circular Design Nairobi. The region is growing, and it's growing at an exponential rate. We are East Africa is part of the fastest emerging market economies in the region. We have Ethiopia, we have Kenya, and we have Rwanda. And there's so much that is happening in terms of commodity manufacture and technology. We've seen the number of people who are able to spend more than $8 a day skyrocket. We have so much demand for products. I'll give you a case study of a low income dweller in an informal setup in Nairobi. We assume that just because you don't have so much to spend, you will go for low quality products. That's actually wrong. These people demand for high quality products, but they just want them at low values. So we've seen a rise in a lot of low value packaging, and with those $8 of shopping, a household is able to buy more than 12 or 13 items in the list. So what can we as designers learn from that? Last year we visited a satellite town outside Nairobi, and we just immersed ourselves into design research, and we were looking at how the town is supposed to be together, the layout of some of the facilities like landfills, markets, shopping behavior, and also the distribution of waste. And we learned a lot. But we learned that most of the waste collection is done informally, and the waste collectors or waste aggregators have a lot of unsorted waste, and the markets are also full of organic waste that is not necessarily put in good use. With this background, we've been able now to take this forward, and as Circular Design Nairobi, we are looking at three opportunity areas. We have awareness, and we have also engagement with designers across different value chains. It's a bit of a high level one. So under awareness, it's two-pronged. Awareness, we're looking at an education intervention, which I'm going to speak a bit about. And we also have a hyper localized intervention that looks at households and how they consume waste. Our third high level one is engaging with manufacturers and designers in those different value chains to come up with interventions that make sure that we minimize waste as we transform towards a circular economy. With our education intervention, we have our partners. So the way we've put together our stakeholder configuration is we're looking at a problem on a circular design. We don't own any projects. So the problem owner is the one who owns the problem. Then as we parachute in, we come in, then we engage different actors, and at the same time we have like a 20% shared agreement. That is, we what we bring in is a 20% financing for the whole thing. Then we just keep going. So for the ed, we are looking at how we can be able to capture the opportunity that is around curriculum design. The region has embarked on a mammoth rethink of what education should be in the region. So they are thinking of embedding some of the learnings, like how can we now incorporate the arts into the curriculum? How can we now incorporate technology? How can we now use education to raise environmental consciousness and also talk about the climate change? So we have an organization that we are working with, Ocean Soul, and we're also looking for other partners, and we're looking at how we can create this education module that affects how kids own their future. Kids do a lot in terms of holding their parents or the communities or the society in check. For instance, if you do something wrong, your child will hold you responsible. He's like, hey, dad, mom, our teacher say that we shouldn't do that. The kid will come up front and question you. So we're looking at such nudges and how we can build our interventions around them so that we can roll out this kind of, we can accelerate learning around the circular economy and build this future generation of young or of practitioners or consumers or people just aware about what is happening. For our second intervention, we're looking at communities. So on a community level, waste management in the region, we look at it and we're like, it's full of cartels, it's a hard to crack space. But I've been lucky to associate with some of these people who we feel uncomfortable about, and they're really just working hard because they literally go through a lot of our messes. We don't sort waste, and they know that there's value in waste. There are valuable materials that are trapped there. For instance, where I live on Fridays, we just have waste collectors who the majority of them are women, who just sit down and go through each and every waste bag, taking out items. The first people to arrive are usually the people who deal with animal like food waste, because they want to go and feed the animals, so they have to separate it and put it aside. Then there's the second shift that comes in that just looks at maybe metals and electronics. Then we have a third shift that goes through the bags, and by the end of the day we will have their bags with items that are a bit damaged, or they are so mixed up that they can't be sorted at that level. So that is what is shipped to the landfills. So what if we now are able to reach out to a household and create these nudges, introduce sorting, look at how we can work with these waste pickers and waste collectors on a community level to now make sure that we save them some time and also increase the amount of money they make by capturing some of these valuable materials early on. With this is what informs our third intervention, which is working with the Kenya Association of Manufacturers, and also getting to meet some of these manufacturers and some of these designers along certain value chains. And we're like, hey, so working in this community, we found out that this item is wasted a lot. Is there a way that we can work with you and the community and households, for instance, to create a better experience around this product so that we waste it less? This is an ongoing conversation, and how we've packaged the whole conversation is we're looking at what our government is currently doing and the underlying policy that we feel will be a driving force towards our success. Currently we have a big four agenda this in Kenya, and it's looking at several sectors of the economy. It's universal health, it's manufacturing, it's housing, and it's food security. And for a circular economy, these are some of the areas that for a social technical system have a lot of implications on the economy, on the ecology. So what if we could ride on this to build opportunity areas for designers or for entrepreneurs or for enterprise or for micro small enterprises? Because I feel, or we feel, that micro small enterprises don't have this kind of information. So the opportunity really lies in opening up these toolkits to designers or to people who own certain processes so that they are able now to navigate better. And this can only be done if there is an incentive or a nudge, or we have a solid business case behind it. How we plan to do this is by getting in with a 20% early on, like, budget for the entire project. And we're like, oh, so for the design research, we're going to cover it. We're going to help you scope the opportunity area, and you will get in when the opportunity is up and running, and the bulk of what you'll do will be implementation. So you own the process and you commit to implementing it. The numerous value chains. You look at tomatoes, for instance. We have 50% of tomatoes, it's hypothesized, or I think the media has reported that like 50% of tomatoes that we produce almost go to waste. And mangoes. At the same time, you look at downstream and you also find that there's so much of the thin film gauge plastics that are associated with packaging some of these items that also go to waste. So how can we reconfigure such systems to cut out waste? Right? Another area that is also super interesting is e-commerce. Now you look at, for instance, the products that are on the shelf. Why do we need certain kinds of packaging when the system is already reconfigured and we have an opportunity to do e-commerce? If we're doing delivery to your home, for instance, do we really need some of that packaging? And in the spirit of leapfrogging, there's a huge opportunity around that. These are just case studies around. So in terms of product service systems and just looking at these cooperative platforms, there's a huge opportunity